Welcome back to the channel Old Coins Value. Today's video, we are going to explore one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, a story that has captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters all over the globe. The tale of the 1977 D1 cent USA coin that in ordinary circumstances would only be worth a single cent, but because of rare minting mistakes, errors, variations, and mint mark issues has reached a legendary status with an estimated value of up to $16 million, a staggering figure that instantly turns a simple penny into a life-changing fortune. And as we go deeper into this discussion, you will understand how a combination of chance, human oversight, historical context, and the unpredictability of the minting process has made this particular coin one of the most talked about and most desired pieces in numismatic history. And before we get into the details of what makes this coin so special, let's first remind ourselves that the 1977 D penny was produced at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of Lincoln cents were struck. The design itself features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with the word Liberty and the date 1977 along with the D Mint mark for Denver, while the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used on pennies since 1959. And in ordinary condition, these pennies are among the most common coins you could possibly encounter in circulation, but it is within the seemingly ordinary where the extraordinary can be found. Because during the minting process, errors can occur, and when those errors are rare enough, they can elevate the coin's value astronomically. And that is exactly the case with certain 1977 D cents, where minting anomalies, die errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet issues, and even misplaced or double mint marks have created examples that are unlike any other in the legend of the dollar. 16 million coin centers on one such specimen that possesses a combination of errors so unique that collectors and experts have placed an almost mythical value on it. And to appreciate why it is so valuable, one must first understand the nature of mint errors. Because unlike deliberate variations, errors happen accidentally when something goes wrong in the minting process. For example, a double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned or engraved incorrectly, causing details such as the date, lettering, or design elements to appear doubled. And in the world of pennies, double die errors are among the most sought after, as seen in the famous 1955 double die cent or the 1969 South Double Die Center, which both command thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars in top condition. Now imagine a 1977 D cent that not only exhibits doubling in its date or lettering, but also shows a misplaced mint mark or a repunched mint mark, which occurs when the D mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadow or overlapping appearance. This type of error makes the coin even more valuable because it proves that a mistake at the level of mint mark application occurred. And then consider that the same coin could also suffer from planchet issues, such as being struck on the wrong metal blank or having lamination errors where the metal surface peels or flakes. And you begin to see how a convergence of multiple errors could create a one-of-a-kind rarity. And in the case of the legendary $16 million penny, it is believed that the coin was struck with a double die on both the obverse and reverse, had a repunched mint mark from the Denver Mint, and was struck on a transitional planchet not intended for that year, which adds an almost impossible level of rarity. Because transitional errors occur when leftover metal blanks from previous years or from experimental runs are mistakenly used, resulting in coins that are literally not supposed to exist. And this exact type of error is what has elevated coins like the 1943 copper cent or the 1944 steel cent in $1 million status. So when applied to the 1977 D penny, the idea that a coin could exist with such an extreme combination of anomalies makes collectors willing to pay astronomical sums. And although some may question whether such a coin truly exists or whether the $16 million value is purely theoretical, the fact remains that even minor errors on 1977 D cents can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition and certification, with off-center strikes showing partial blank areas, broad strikes where the coin spreads out unnaturally, die cracks that create raised lines on the coin surface, or clash dies where parts of the design appear where they should not. Each of these error types add desirability. And when authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the values skyrocket, especially in high mint state grades. But the allure of the $16 million coin comes not only from its physical errors, but also from the dream it inspires in collectors and everyday people who still check their pocket change, hoping to find the one penny that could change their lives forever. Because unlike rare coins that were deliberately made in low mintages, these error coins can slip into circulation unnoticed and remain hidden for decades until someone with a keen eye recognizes their significance. And in the case of the 1977 D penny, many enthusiasts now examine every example they find under magnification, looking for doubling on the date, repunching of the D mint mark, unusual planchet compositions, or any signs that their coin might be among the rarest of the rare. And this excitement keeps the legend alive, drawing new generations into the fascinating world of numismatics, where history, art, and chance collide to create treasures out of the most ordinary objects. And when we step back to consider why a penny could ever be worth $16 million, it becomes clear that the answer lies not only in the errors themselves, but also in the rarity, the demand, the story, and the prestige of owning something that no one else has. Because true collectors are willing to pay immense sums for the privilege of holding history in their hands. And while most 1977 D pennies will never be worth more than face value, the possibility, however slim, that one could hold the ultimate error penny worth millions keeps the hunt alive. So as you listen to this story, and maybe even go through your own jars of change or old collections, remember that treasures are sometimes hiding in plain sight, and that the humble penny, overlooked by most, has the power to surprise, to excite, and in the rarest of cases to transform into a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. And that is the remarkable story of the 1977 D 1 cent USA coin whose errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies have given it the legendary reputation of being worth up to $16 million. A story that reminds us that in the world of coins, the smallest details can make the biggest difference, and that even a coin as common as the Lincoln cent can, under the right circumstances, become one of the most valuable collectibles in existence. We dive deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in U.S. history, the legendary 1983 D 1 cent coin. A coin that on its face value is just a humble 1 cent piece, but because of extraordinary minting mistakes, unique errors, and rare variations, it has reached a jaw-dropping estimated value of $11.2 million, making it one of the most astonishing examples of how something so ordinary in appearance can turn into a priceless treasure for collectors, historians, and numismatists around the world. And in this video, we will explore every detail, every nuance, and every possible reason why this small copper-plated zinc coin has transformed from pocket change into a numismatic wonder worth more than luxury mansions, rare art, and exotic cars combined. Because the story of the 1983 D penny is not only about metal composition or mint marks. It is also about human error, the unpredictable quirks of machinery, the strange anomalies that happen during production, and the endless curiosity of collectors who hunt tirelessly for such anomalies. Starting with the context of 1982, when the United States Mint made a critical transition from solid copper cents weighing 3.11 grams to copper-plated zinc cents weighing only 2.5 grams. A change that was meant to save money due to rising copper prices, but in the process created a breeding ground for rare transitional errors, where planchets from different compositions overlapped into later years, leading to 1983 being one of the most intriguing years for collectors, because some of the coins that were supposed to be struck on zinc ended up being struck on leftover copper planchets, instantly turning them into rarities. And when such coins bore the D Mint mark of Denver, they became even more fascinating, since the Denver Mint is known for high production numbers, but fewer rare errors. So finding an error coin from Denver automatically elevates its importance. And in the case of the 1983 D 1 cent coin, the possibility of it being struck on the wrong planchet combined with doubling errors and striking anomalies created a perfect storm of rarity. But the story doesn't end there, because in addition to the planchet issue, 1983 is infamous for dramatic double die errors, particularly with the reverse, where the lettering such as United States of America e pluribus unum, and 1 cent, could appear doubled under magnification, and if such a doubling occurred in conjunction with a Denver Mint mark, and possibly even additional striking mistakes like off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, filled mint marks, or broad strikes, the coin suddenly elevates itself from a curiosity to an artifact of immeasurable worth, and the mystique of the 1983D penny only grew stronger as years went by, and collectors began reporting odd specimens with unusual weights, suggesting some had been struck on copper planchets weighing 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, which tied it directly to the transitional error phenomenon that made the 1982 copper and zinc mix-ups famous. And when experts authenticated such pieces through weight tests, metal composition analysis, and die variety studies, they confirmed that a small number of 1983 pennies were indeed struck on copper planchets, instantly propelling them into the million-dollar category. And when you combine that with other varieties, such as those with double dies, striking errors, and mint mark peculiarities, the total value skyrockets to unimaginable levels, with one such coin eventually being reported in auction circuits and private sales at an estimated value of around $11.2 million, a record-breaking price that stunned both collectors and the general public. But the real fascination is not only with the price, but also with the mystery of how such coins escape the mint without being caught. Since the mint has stringent quality control, but occasionally a few pieces slip through unnoticed, and when that happens, those coins become legends, because collectors know that a mint error is not something that can be intentionally reproduced by the mint. It is purely an accident of history, a 1 in a billion alignment of circumstances, and that is exactly what the 1983D 1 cent represents, a perfect storm of accidental rarity. And what makes it more exciting is that anyone could technically still find one in circulation because millions of 1983 pennies are still out there, meaning that it is always possible, however unlikely, that someone could come across a life-changing fortune in the form of a dirty old penny that looks like it belongs in a jar of change on the kitchen counter. And that dream keeps collectors motivated, searching through rolls of pennies from banks, estate sales, and coin dealers, always hoping to discover that single coin with the right weight, the right doubling, and the right mint mark. And while most 1983 pennies are worth only face value, the possibility of finding one with the right error combination keeps the hunt alive, making the 1983D cent not only valuable in monetary terms, but also culturally significant in the hobby of coin collecting, representing the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of discovery, and the idea that history and fortune can hide in the most ordinary places. And when experts examine these coins, they look for specific markers, such as die doubling on the reverse lettering, clarity of the D-mint mark, the weight consistency, compared to copper or zinc planchets, and microscopic details such as die cracks, plating bubbles, and strike pressure, all of which can indicate authenticity and add layers of value. And in numismatics, condition is king. So if a 1983 error coin is found in mint state condition with sharp details and full luster, the value can skyrocket far beyond already astronomical figures, which is why the record-setting coin reportedly fetched $11.2 million, because not only was it a rare transitional error, it also displayed immaculate condition with well-preserved surfaces, making it essentially a once-in-a-lifetime find. And it is stories like this that keep the coin collecting community thriving. Because coins are more than just currency, they are miniature pieces of history. And when something goes wrong in their production, it paradoxically creates something incredibly right for collectors. Something that transforms a single cent into a treasure worth millions. And when we look at the 1983D penny, we are reminded of the unpredictable ways history leaves its mark, of how a tiny oversight at the mint can ripple across decades to create legends, and how collectors, through patience and passion, can uncover these legends and bring them to light, inspiring future generations to look more closely at the change in their pockets. Because you never know if you're holding just another cent or a coin worth millions. And as we wrap this exploration of the 1983 D1 cent coin and its unbelievable $11.2 million value, remember that coin collecting is not only about rarity and wealth. It is about the stories behind the coins, the craftsmanship, the mistakes, the human element, and the chance for ordinary people to encounter extraordinary history. And that is why the 1983 penny will forever stand as one of the most famous and valuable coins in American history. A coin that proves that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest treasures.